We'll go back later and listen to it. Uh, you're pathetic, Robert. You really are. I just want to say one thing on here, and one thing only. Barry, we've seen how you abuse women, and I'm glad actually that Robert played that part. I caught that. And I really hope that your girlfriend has watched this or seen this to know what she's in for. Now, we don't know, we actually don't know, we don't know if he's ever abused his girlfriend, his current one. We know, obviously, in the past that he certainly has done that. Very abusive. And I had to take, because my clips don't allow me much, I had to take about 7 different clips, audio clips from that. Uh, I don't know, it didn't allow me more than 15 seconds in actuality. If it was a remix, it would have been different. But I've got these clips and I'm going to put them on file, showing that if anybody's an undesirable, it's certainly Barry. And the way he was treating that woman that was in the bedroom, how abusive that was. Now, I haven't been able to interpret her language in what she said, but my girlfriend could. Very abusive. I really hope his girlfriend had listened to this, and maybe she'll learn what's in store for her. And, we're doing this for her own welfare, you know. Not that I should give a fuck, but she wouldn't be the only one if he did abuse her. And you just can't change someone like him. If he did that in the past, he'll do that again. And if he hasn't done it already, we don't know that. We don't know that. Now, I'm not going to say definitively on here that he has abused his current wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous girlfriend. We don't know that as a fact. Would I be surprised if he did? No, I wouldn't be surprised. You ever hear of battered wives syndrome? This is what goes on. The woman will claim, but I love him, after the guy beats the shit out of her, right? And she's bruised up. You've heard these stories, right? It's called battered wives syndrome. Whether you're married or not, it's called battered wives syndrome. Where they stay with the guy even after he verbally and physically abuses a woman. Battered wives syndrome. Well, I'm glad I could accommodate you after Popeye's show. I heard about 20 minutes of it, of some key stuff, which, I don't know, I think Popeye could even be sicker than the other guy, if that's even possible. I think he's worse than Ricky, actually. Making all kinds of ridiculous allegations against me, because that's what Popeye does. Well, nothing new about that. But it really got interesting. It was toward the end. And I made some clips of this because I actually, do me a favor. I never had the clips of that one when he was being abusive with that girlfriend of his he had. He's probably scared to shit. It's called battered wife syndrome. Battered wife. And he calls me undesirable. Expat says Popeye has mobility issues. Well, don't matter whether he has mobility issues. That's besides the point. But it might have something to do with the limitation of what he does with his time. Going to bingo and getting driven over to a casino every now and then. Popeye is the most bitter person in our YouTube history around here in this genre here in the Philippines. He's got to be the most bitter person. One would say that Barry's really bitter, and he is, but not to the degree of Robert. No, not to that degree. What are you smelling, dog? Jeez, what are you smelling? Anyway, I did listen to 20 minutes. It looked like it was a long show, so I could only have to maybe skim through it. I've heard a few things about me already, so I can imagine the rest of it. So that wouldn't be unusual. But I take it with a grain of salt as to who it's coming from, of all people. But yeah, yeah, he does have mental issues. There's no, obviously, obviously so. Um, Popeye will have his day. I wouldn't worry about it. Did you notice his coughing? When do you ever hardly ever hear me coughing? And I still am smoking at the moment. I have a cigarette right now. You hardly ever hear me cough unless I have a sinus trip. Do you ever notice when he laughs, that's a telltale sign that he's a smoker and a long-term smoker? And perhaps even a drinker could do that too, or in combination. You notice that when he tries, he make a... he's fucking choking on his own fucking spit. Yeah. Popeye is... I'm not saying it. Expat Forever says that Popeye is gay. He hates women. Well, since this old lady left him, it left him with a bitter taste in his mouth. There's no doubt about that. You could hear it. No, I wasn't really offended by, what Popeye was saying. I expect to hear this kind of shit from him. I'll go back later on and listen to... I'm not going to listen to the whole goddamn show. I can't do that. I just don't really want to even voice. But I really hope that Bummer's girlfriend listened to this broadcast. I really hope she did. She needs to get a clue. She needs to get a hint. Bear Cold sounds like bitter old Popeye, possibly to never have female company. Well, I would venture to say so. And I'm sure it's been a long time since he has. Other than his ex-wife, that's probably the last sex he ever fucking had. Other than his right hand or left hand, I don't know whether he's dexterous. But, or maybe with his feet, because I don't even know if he really has any hands. Well, when you don't go on camera, you're afraid to show yourself. I mean, what are we to think? That you're too fucking ugly to go on camera? I mean, there's a lot of reasons. He's afraid for people to know what he looks like. But people know what he looks like. He goes back a long time. People have seen photographs of him. Have they not? His kids probably don't associate with him. Well, doesn't his daughter live there or something? Or just comes by or something? I don't know. Well, Jean, his mom, he inherited the house from Jean. Because he could never afford a house on his own. He's jealous of the fact that I do own a house. And, despite the technicalities of who's the real owner of the house, I was in a position to actually buy a house. Yeah. Then they'll say, well, you only got a $60,000 house. Well, see, that's the beauty of it. I think I paid 3.4 for this. And it's pushing its way to about 9 or more. Pretty good. And that's with all the fix-up I did, actually. It came to about 4, I think about 4 million in actuality. And we've done a few things. It was still not done. But this is when you're in a good position that you could do that for your woman. And people like Barry and Popeye and people like that, they can't do that for a woman. Well, in Popeye's case, there's never been a woman except for his wife that he picked up over in Subic Bay. Was she the one that went under the table? I don't know. He was telling that story about the game that him and his buddies played. And the woman would go under the table and, she would do something. You remember the story on that? It came from his mouth, okay? Is that where he met her? Oh, what a lucky guy. But all I know is that, I guess what I hear is she's doing very well now since she left his sorry ass. She's doing very well. She got a store going, and she's happy, and we should be happy for her. Yeah, don't take Popeye's shit to heart, because Popeye is just extremely bitter with his own life. And that's what people do that are bitter. They want to attack other people because they can't live the life. Hey, Popeye, Popeye. In my lifetime, I got together with 125 women. It don't matter whether it was a long-term relationship or whether it was an overnighter, but at 100 approximately, I don't know exactly. But for my old phone numbers and everything else I had, I approximate about 125 women in my carnal career, Popeye. How many have you had? I've experienced all kinds of women, different races, all kinds of women. You? It was a round table deal, wasn't it, in Subic Bay? That's what it was. It was a round table out with the boys. And then you married one of them. Then she left your sorry ass. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did. Hello.
In the beach side.
Where you going today?
Beach.
You going back to the beach?
Yeah.
No, you guys have fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's not too bad of a day since it's a little bit overcast, so
Yeah.
that should be a pretty good day to do that. All right, don't get in trouble. God, I'm sling what? Biko? What are you making?
For lasagna.
Oh, you're gonna make the lasagna. Well, you could turn this light on in here. That would help. There we go. Oh, great. So you got all the ingredients?
Yeah, I have.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, homemade meatballs, not this frozen shit. So yeah, I got to listen to a little bit of his show. I'll skim it later on. I know what to expect. I mean, I heard enough already in the last like 20 minutes, whatever it was on there. But yeah, I'm telling you, if this is what Barry's girlfriend wants, you know, I just feel sorry for her in that respect. It's battered wife syndrome is what it is. That's what they call it. And you know, is it an assumption we're making? We don't know. So we don't know what's really going on. So I'm not going to go all way out and say that, you know, he's beating his girlfriend up, because I can't really say that. What I could say, very legally and obviously, is that if he's done this before, chances are that he will do it again. Expat Forever says that's why he has no money. He spent it all on bar girls. Oh, Poops. You're talking about Poops, yeah. Hey, Poops. And I notice it's the same format that Popeye uses in his shows. There's nothing really too much different than one show to another. That's my observation anyway. If you heard one of his little skits or whatever, you've heard them all. It's the same shit. It's just the same fucking shit. Same shit. I don't know a Sid Hatrack. It's the same shit. Every time. I didn't really know that, you know, soap operas being off TV would affect a man in that way. Maybe a woman, but apparently this is now how he spends his time. Oh, Popeye could criticize me all he wants, but the fact he's not living my life. He never could. He's not in a position to do so. Even if the guy had any money. Well, if he's immobile and if he has any kind of mental illness, which you guys can make your own assessment on that. What is he doing with his life? Other than doing shows about me or Barry or something? Pretty sad for both of these guys. And Popeye's right about one thing, and he's not right all the time. But yeah, giving money to Bummer is probably the worst thing anybody can do, because you know it's going to be wasted. The guy is such a chronic liar that you just can't trust the guy. But I'd really like to know what's going on behind the scenes the past, Almost 3 years. Has he been dating her? I'd like to know if she's scared of him. Is that what the denominator is? That maybe he's told her, don't you dare ever fucking leave me. How many times has he said shut the fuck up to her? Like he did with that girl in Popeye's video that I did see. I did make some selective clips on the last 20 minutes. About 7 or 8 of them, actually, because I couldn't get them all into one clip. But it would be better with a remix. There is a coalition that wants the bummer to stay in detention to upgrade the prison. Whatever, man. He's going to be there a while. And he wants to compromise. He knows what he has to do. But do you feel sorry for a woman that would go out with him? Good question. Should you feel sorry for a woman that goes out with him? On one hand, we talk about common sense. Oh, who's here? Oh, her friends. Are these people misinformed? Were they Christmas carols? Oh, I'm not. And for what I took on the clips, I could absolutely use that. So I suppose I should thank Popeye on that one. Showing his abuse to this woman. Excellent, man. Excellent. San Securito. Popeye mounts the oxygen tanks horizontally on his mobility scooter, pretending they are torpedoes ready to sink enemy ships and scooters. Yeah, he could be that lame. He could be, really. His mindset is all in the Navy. Everything is the fucking Navy. Navy this, Navy that. Well, maybe those were the better days in his life, but it's really sad that from all these years that have transpired, since he was in the Navy, that he's done nothing but his life but watch soap operas and get on YouTube and join hate clubs and create hate clubs and sound out against people, including myself, Barry, and many others throughout the YouTube history here in this genre. I don't know, is Popeye somebody you should feel sorry for? There's a line you draw. You feel sorry for somebody because their life is so void of all the things that we get to experience. And he's stuck in his house, his mobility scooter, and watching soap operas and creating his own soap opera when they disappeared by coming on YouTube and being so hateful as he is. It's sad if you have to live a life in that way. It really is. And I really mean that. It really is sad that somebody has to live their life that way. Nobody should have to. But I'm more than sure he has certain circumstances going on that is limiting not only maybe his mobility, but being able to not be a person who is so fucking bitter. He's probably had so many disappointments in his life. Well, shit, if you've gone that long without a woman, and believe me, I knew somebody, he passed away, a friend of mine, and he was really bitter with his life because he never get to experience a woman. He had a lot of health conditions, and I'm going to go into all that shit, but this guy, I know him from when I was a kid, stayed in touch with him. He was so bitter about everything. He envied me that you've been out with a lot of women, you had houses, you lived here, you lived there, you did this, you did your photography. I was free to do whatever I wanted to do. And he was bitter as a bitter melon because circumstances in his life, which is quite vast actually, prevented him from doing so. And that's what happens, how people turn bitter. When their life, and he'd always compare his to mine. That's how I know in Popeye's situation that this is exactly what's going on. He's bitter with his life. He's absolutely bitter. And it's showing. I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I should do this and I should do that. Shut the fuck up, Robert. Seriously, shut the fuck up. You only wish you had my fucking life. I could walk. Okay. I didn't inherit my house. I bought it. Okay. With real money, Robert, with real money. And no matter what I paid for the house, you're talking about Philippines. My house in America would be worth a fortune. And actually, I got a great price for the house, Robert. Great price. Now it's worth probably 2.5 to 3 times of what I actually paid for it. Not a bad investment. And if I wanted to sell this house, I could sell it. Even though technically, of course, on paper, it's her house. But if I had decided, since I'm the investor in this house, and she don't have any argument with that, but I really wouldn't do that to her. I could sell this house and walk off with a lot more money. It's still an investment to me, no matter whose name it's under. Popeye hardly leaves the basement. Well, it kind of sounds that way to me. I mean, look, I'm not there to watch everything he does. At least I'm being honest in my statements here. I can make my assumptions and I can gather information based on what I hear. And that's good enough for me because he's been around for a long time and we heard a lot of his stories and we can make our own assessment of what his life is like. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It really has to do with jealousy with a lot of people, that somebody is actually out here. He downs the Philippines, but yet he hangs out on a Philippines vlogging, genre. But he downs the Philippines, that it's a piss hole and this and that and this and that. Well, seemingly it wasn't that to him back in the day, and he still comes on and he talks, he tries to learn the language. So basically, living life vicariously through other people. Because that's all he can do. He can't do much than that. So who's living the better life? And don't put your eggs all in one basket as far as the deportation thing, Robert. We're not there yet. And we've done a few things to counteract that. But, like I said, double-blade sword. Goes around, comes around. It's going to be established that basically he coerced his girlfriend to do that report. I want to mention that. Either way, whether immigration drops this or whether she drops this, it's going to be addressed. One way or another, we'll deal with it. And there are 2 different levels I can deal with it. That would not cost me that much money. So if you think I stopped right here, you're awfully wrong. I think it's called battered wife syndrome, and that's my opinion. I think she's in fear of him. That's what I think it is. She's in total fear of him. She's seen, I'm sure, what he's capable of. His temper. How he verbalizes things. The hate. The lies. And to hide him from the rest of her family. I'm sorry, but that speaks volumes to me. I think she's afraid of him. And that's, again, just my opinion. I think she's afraid of him. Horribly afraid of him. Because he's like that with women. He'll put fear of God in them. Or fear of being beat up or being verbally abused, whatever the situation might be. Now, you've heard that recording on Popeye's show. I did certainly catch that. I got 7 or 8 clips on that because I couldn't do a full clip. If you've seen the way he was talking to that Filipino in the other room, which child was that? This woman had. You could imagine. You could only imagine. Now, it's not that, Bummer's a big guy. But Filipinos are pretty sensitive emotionally. When a guy is yelling profanities at her and telling her to shut the fuck up and everything else, oh yeah, perfect guy to date. What an ideal foreigner to date and want to marry. What's up with that? It has a fear factor. It has to be the fear factor. What else could it be? That's my thoughts on this. What's yours? That's the conclusion I come up with. And I've been listening long enough, both of these idiots, and especially the bummer, and I know what he's all about. You hear it on his shows all the time. The guy that doesn't have half a fucking brain, if he has that at all, to continue to do shows and doing the same shit. I mean, he keeps on harping about he wants his freedom, he wants to be home again. Okay, we get it. He said it enough. But the question is, what is he doing to make that become an actual reality? Nothing. He's making it worse every time. That's why I nicknamed him Digger. Digging his own fucking grave, legal grave. And taking away his own freedom. Maybe, just maybe he's happy with the status quo. That's another thing that maybe you guys haven't thought of. We always talk about it, free rent, electricity and all that, right? It's probably one of the best living situations he had. So who's to say it's far-fetched from thinking that maybe, just maybe, he likes his situation? Well, I mean, sure, he misses going to the bars and cavorting with all the women, getting drunk, stupid, getting stupid drunk. You remember when he was wearing pajama bottoms in a bar? They proceeded to try to dance to the beat of the music. I was actually laughing on that out loud. I don't mean a big laugh, but I was actually laughing. Audibly laughing at that one with his pajama bottoms on in a bar trying to pick up women. Oh, that'll work. That'll work. Not. Oh, gosh, he's making that lasagna. Oh, boy, I'm going to feast tonight. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Back in the States, we actually ate on Christmas Day. I'm trying to think back. It's a long time. I don't remember eating on Christmas Eve. Maybe we did. It's a long time ago. But we are eating tonight. Me, her, and her son, because the others had to go back to Cebu, but they're going to be back on her birthday. A shitload of people. God, I got to meet some of her relatives I never met. How many cousins? She's got a big-ass family. Jeez. Oi. She's got a big old family. And yes, I actually did meet the famous Jimmy. And believe me, it's not what people think. He's all for me raising two of his children so he don't have to spend the money on school and medical things and college and all that. He don't have a problem with me at all. And guess what? I don't have a problem with him. It's all good. It's all good. His attitude was good. It's always been, actually. And I know from Gilda's children. This guy holds nothing against me, and he holds nothing against her. He lives his life, we're living our life, and it's all good. So despite all the chatter about Jimmy cracks corn, and I don't care. Jimmy cracks corn, and I don't care. We're good. That's all that matters. He doesn't give a fuck about anything. That I got his woman. He's accepted that fact over 9-10 years ago. That, it's been a long time. No, about over 10 years, actually. He's accepted the fact that she didn't want to be with him. People do get over things, Some people do. It's all good. In Funky Town. It's all good in Funky Town. But let me get back before I get off here. I want to finish a movie. Well, a couple of things I got to do before that, but yeah, we obviously see how abusive he is to women. That's pretty obvious. And if you've done that one, just like if you see a cockroach, there's probably a lot more. Okay, that's just not seeing a good comparison. If he's talked like that and treated a woman like that, then common sense would say, and the law of odds and averages, whatever, would say that it wouldn't be the first time, and probably would never be the last time. So, is he hard pressuring his girlfriend to do all this stuff? Has he ever touched her? Has he ever verbally been? In fact, I've actually heard him say, "Oh yeah, we get mad, and I'll say what I need to say to her." Oh, that was a hint right there. Now, if this little clippings I got of him, verbalizing abusively to one of his girlfriends, then man, that's just a sample. That's just a sample, and it really exudes the possibility that many other women have been. I mean, look at that chick. What was it, Babes in Romblon? You know, Baby had bruises. He refused to buy milk and diapers for the kid. Don't worry about my smoking. I pay the rent in the pigsty here in the crematorium. So you start paying the rent. Don't tell me I can't smoke. He didn't care about the kid. He doesn't care about dogs. He doesn't care about anything but his own selfishness. No, he's been in a remarried. Well, no, he made a different phrase to that. He's been in a relationship with somebody for about 8 years. No, I think it was about 7 years. Might have been 8. No, he's been in a relationship. He even has 2 children. He has even 2 children from the woman that he's been with all this time. 2 kids. I don't know. They're about, what are they, 6 now? 6 and 7. Somewhere around there. I've never seen him, you know. I've heard about him, of course, through Gilda's children. But no, he has 2 kids of his own there. I don't think he's. No, I don't. No, he's not. No, he's not married. No, you don't need a piece of paper. What are you, new? Nobody needs a piece of paper. And I have a surprise, and maybe one day I'll say this. I actually said this on my show years ago. There's something about Singapore. I'll leave you. I'll leave you with your own thoughts on this. It has to do with a place called Singapore. You'd be awfully surprised how I'm relating to Singapore and what that means. You have no clue. You have no clue. And I'm going to leave it at that regarding Singapore. Nobody has a clue. I mean, nobody, not even my constituent that I'd be talking to on the slide. The deep throat that was doing stuff against Barry, and the snitch that I utilized his services. Well, he offered. He's a guy that tracked down Bummer and all that stuff that I'm not talking to these days. Even he doesn't know that. See, I was always pretty open to a point with this guy, but I didn't tell him everything. I didn't tell him financially everything. I didn't tell him any other information that I didn't want to tell him. Because I always suspected that he was a snitch. So I'd feed him story after story. But the one thing we both agreed on is that our actual disgust of Bummer. That's the one mutual thing that we had going, and why we used to talk to each other religiously, practically every single day for years. That's one thing we had in common, a dislike for this guy. But no, I never told him all my information. I made him think because I'm not a trusting person of people. And my girlfriend would tell me all the time, look, maybe snitch guy seems to be on your side and he's done a few good things for you. I still wouldn't trust him. And I told her, I said, I know. So I made him believe a whole lot of shit that really wasn't going on or happening, whether it was financially with me or whatever the situation was. I never told him all the information. Oh, I got personal with him with a few things, but I never really told him the whole truth of things about myself and my girlfriend. He thought I was a dumb shit, but the famous line that I would give him all the time, and what was that one line I'd use to him all the time? Oh, there's a method behind my madness. And I've said that to him probably about 20 times since I've known him. There's a method behind my madness. I know what I'm doing all the time. I'm suspicious of people. I'm not trusting of everyone until they earn my trust. Despite talking to him for about 3 years, it's got to be at least 3 years. It's got to be. I didn't tell him everything. We led him to believe certain things about me and my girlfriend. My girlfriend. Girlfriend. There's things he didn't know. Think about Singapore, my friends. Think about Singapore. Used to hear me talk a lot about Singapore? You must have if you've been listening to my show. Why did I talk about Singapore? Well, I'm not going to give you the answer to that. I will never say anything about Singapore. Sing a song. La da 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 do da do da 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 do da 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 da. What does Singapore have to do with anything? You'd be surprised. You'd be awfully surprised. Sorry, folks, this is one thing I will never talk about. Okay, so it is the day of Christmas Eve, and I went against my own rules. I was going to lay down and just watch movies and enjoy my holidays and not have to talk about these retards. Oh, well, decided differently. So there you go. Hang me for it. Popeye, you really are a waste of a human. If I should be so kind to even call you a human, you're a subhuman. I would never want to be in your position, even if I was offered all the money in the world. I could not live your life. I could not be you. As Peter Van Dever used to say, and he had a little saying all the time, see ya, don't want to be ya. Neither one of these clowns. Barry, you're in for a long ride, bud. Just get used to the fact you're in for a long ride. And perhaps you're actually enjoying. Maybe we're all wrong. Maybe his viewers, my viewers, are wrong. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe he's happy with the status quo. I mean, come on. Of course, I'm sure it bothers him that, but you know, as long as his girlfriend comes over and he's got use of his phone, which is amazing in itself, you know, and he could listen to movies and watch movies, and he's never had it that good because he used to have to pay for his internet. Who do you think's paying for his data on his phone? His girlfriend. However, for those that still believe that he is not getting his Social Security, you better think twice about that. He's been getting it the whole time. That means that he's lied to his girlfriend, that she's been giving him money and supplies. Good girl she is. Isn't she just the best? She's the best. She's the best. Naive. Yeah, well, can we hold that against her, really? Some people are just naive and they're very gullible. It's a shame. but they can't open up their eyes wide enough and see clearly as to what's going on. But I still say it, and I will. One day she's going to realize this was one big fucking nightmare. One big nightmare. Hey, you guys, enjoy the rest of your holidays. Barry, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Well, I sit in my comfortable lounger chair and I'm going to watch a good movie. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a great meal tonight. Oh, we're talking lasagna and everything else. Salad, lasagna. Mm. Man, I can smell it right now. She's going to cook it now, and then later on, tonight we could heat it up. And man, I'm looking forward to that. A bear called Wilbur. Barry is taking e-begging to the next level. Man, he sure is. He sure the hell is. He's in overdrive now on that. And he's lost his mind. It's clear. I mean, if you're listening to his show, you would notice it be fact. We've seen his mental health deteriorating. I guess mine would too. Be honest with you. At least I got something to handle that. Yeah, I certainly do. I'd be able to cope with my situation. I definitely would be able to. Yeah. But boy, he's begging like crazy. And people are so pissed off at him right now. They are so pissed. Come on, man. With kindness, you get results. You don't be attacking all your viewers, even your regulars. People who've actually donated to you before. You think that's going to want to make them donate to you? I mean, he has to come up with a shitload of money to get out of this thing. And I'll be honest, I just don't think anybody, even somebody who has sympathy for him, I really don't think that they're going to go that way out. Who knows? There might be some idiot out there that might, but I think for the most part, I just don't think that's going to happen. You want to help somebody who wants to help themselves, and he wants everybody to take care of him. Does his girlfriend have to wipe his ass for him? What does she have to do for him? It's a horrible thing. You know? Tending to his needs. That's great for a chick to tend to your needs. Nothing wrong with that at all. But the question is why? Is it a battered woman syndrome? A battered wife syndrome? Remember, you don't have to be married. That's just an entitlement of the condition. I don't know. We can make our own evaluations on that. But it's fitting the bill as far as, my opinion is. I think she's afraid of him. And I'll stick to that opinion. I'm not going to change it. I think she's afraid of him. You take care, folks. Enjoy the holiday. Enjoy your holiday too, Barry. And lock up, you asswipe.